Mornings with Neil Arn only on News 2.
October 30th, 2000.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Okay, pick your tired metaphor.
They race down the backstretch.
The presidential campaign is neck and neck. And it's anybody's call who will bring home the bacon.
Down the stretch they come.
In the home stretch, will either candidate pull away?
In the final strides.
Tonight, Monday Night Politics. The candidates race to the finish.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Chris Bury.
Like bookies at a racetrack, the media loves to handicap presidential campaigns. London bookmakers, by the way, give George W. Bush a slight edge. But this election appears way too close for most American pundits to call. So close that those of us in the news business are running out of racing cliches. Later in this broadcast, we'll talk to 3 candidates on the ballot in most states who are struggling far behind in the dust. But first, the front of the pack. Today's ABC News tracking survey shows a statistical dead heat. Vice President Al Gore with 47%. Governor George W. Bush also at 47%. Ralph Nader, the Green Party candidate, slipping to 3%. The Reform Party's Pat Buchanan down under 1%. To give you an idea of how important the candidates consider each state, the big political development today concerned the election prospects of a dead man. The widow of the late governor and Democratic Senate candidate Mel Carnahan, killed in a recent plane crash, announced that she would serve if his name, still on the ballot, attracts more votes than Republican John Ashcroft next Tuesday.
Should the people of Missouri elect my husband, I pledge to take their common dreams to the United States Senate. Now the choice is up to the people of Missouri. Mel always believed in them, and I do too.
The decision is important because control of the Senate and even the White House could depend on Missouri, which has backed the presidential winner in every election but one this century. As the campaign calendar counts down, you can sense a certain tension, if not desperation, in the air. Today in Wisconsin, the vice president's campaign once again unleashed Joseph Lieberman to make the charge Al Gore himself shies away from, that Governor Bush is too green for the job.
Let me tell you honestly, George Bush is not ready to be president of the United States. Maybe sometime, but he sure isn't ready to be the kind of president that the people of America need now. And you know who is ready? Al Gore.
Governor Bush, for his part, took to the Democratic strongholds of California and New Mexico, where he too adopted the kind of harsh tone that has become so common in the late stages of close elections.
My opponent cannot bring America together because he practices the politics of division. He talks of ripping the lungs out of political opponents. He scares the elderly for political gain. His campaign attacks are designed to spread falsehood and cynicism. If you try to win at any cost, the price is high. You lose your ability to inspire our people and lead a nation.
ABC's Terry Moran is covering the Gore campaign tonight in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I spoke with him earlier this evening. Terry, for the second day in a row, we're hearing the Gore campaign in the form of Joe Lieberman making this attack on Governor Bush's readiness. Is this a variation of the old good cop, bad cop routine with Gore and Lieberman?
It is, Chris. Al Gore takes the high road. I mean, he contrasts his policies with Governor Bush policies. He gets tough on that, but he does not go after Governor Bush personally. That's left to other surrogates, most prominently Joe Lieberman. Al Gore does have a problem doing this because essentially they're questioning Governor Bush's capacity for the job. And given Gore's problems in some of the debates with seeming overbearing, almost too smart for his own good, they aren't going to have the vice president do that, at least not yet. They are, however, thinking about having a paid media, commercial advertisement raising this question.
Since they are raising this question, as you just discussed, perhaps in a commercial as well, is there a risk here, especially given what Vice President Gore said in one of the debates, that he personally wasn't going to question Governor Bush's fitness for the job?
Well, he said that, Chris, as you pointed out. He said in the past he thinks that Governor Bush is plenty smart for the job. They try to couch this in terms of maturity, they say, experience, almost seriousness. But really what they're calling into question is his fundamental personal capacity for the job. It is risky, not just because Al Gore said he wouldn't do it, but because this is a campaign which has tried for weeks and months not to make this campaign about personalities. Al Gore says almost every day on the stump, this is not a personality contest, it's about issues, because they know if it's a personality contest, he might not win it.
Very quickly, Terry, at the same time as they are pursuing this line of attack, even in commercials and on the stump with Lieberman, is it a sign of some nervousness in the Gore camp?
They're anxious, Chris, there's no question, and that's probably natural given the closeness of the race. They would say they're counterpunching, that they aren't launching this attack preemptively, they would say. They say that Governor Bush has been attacking them, attacking Vice President Gore for months, calling him essentially a liar, and that no one has ever called him on that, and so that this is merely a counterpunch to that attack.
Terry Moran, another long day on the trail. We appreciate your time tonight. Dean Reynolds is covering the Bush campaign. He joined us earlier this evening from Burbank, California. Dean, the fact that Governor Bush is in California today, in New Mexico, to Democratic strongholds, does that belie a certain confidence in the governor's part, or is there some strategic reason for it?
Well, there's no question, Chris, that they are trying to project this air of confidence, this air of inevitability. Certainly by going into states that went for Bill Clinton in a big way back in 1996, and in this case of California, which looked like they may be going for Gore in this election, they are trying to project this idea that we're doing fine, it doesn't matter where we're campaigning, we're going to win.
That sounds pretty cocky, given the poll numbers today. I mean, our own poll showing a dead heat. What gives them reason for that kind of confidence?
Well, I'm not saying that they are confident. I'm saying they're projecting an air of confidence. They believe that in the waning days of the campaign, those few people who are still undecided are likely to go with the person they think will win the election. And so they want to be the one in their minds as the logical winner.
We saw the Gore campaign today ratcheting up the theme of Governor Bush's fitness with a second day of attacks from Joseph Lieberman. How is the Bush campaign responding to this, and what do they plan to do in the next couple of days? Because obviously the Democrats see this as a potent line of attack.
Well, and I think the Bush people see it as a potent line of attack. I mean, the governor has made a point on several occasions, most recently, saying that when he is elected president, he will surround himself with able leaders. He said it twice to the audience in Pittsburgh last week. And he introduces Colin Powell, for example. And here tonight in California, he was on the stage with John McCain. All of this is to reassure the audience that the presidency in his hands will be just fine. But it is clearly a response to those attacks by the Democrats. Whether the Republicans are going to try to minimize them or not, at least the outward message that they're sending here to the public is that this is a concern and you shouldn't have it.
Dean Reynolds, thank you very much. 8 days to go. Voter turnout continues to be a shocking truth. Approximately half of all eligible Americans generally do not bother to vote in presidential contests. Could that be because of a lack of interest in the two main party candidates? Is there a third way? We'll discuss that later in the broadcast with 3 third-party candidates. But first, making sense of the poll numbers when we come back.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Sears.
Know how to spot a diehard battery owner? Look for their jumper cables. Diehard, America's most trusted battery with 30 years of starting power. How much do you trust your battery?
Hard to believe Daddy's gonna be 70.
He looks good. Must be all that clean living.
Yeah, right. 70. Think about all he's seen.
He's never seen Walt Disney World.
Come have the time of your life and celebrate in a magical place that celebrates family.
Well, young blood, now I've seen everything.
But I haven't. Come on.
Call 1-407-WDisney and make your dream come true.
Tomorrow, cracking down on witchcraft. A small town uses an old law to try to get rid of its witches, but at what price? Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Get set, UT fans, because it's that time of year. Time for Tennessee ball football. And you can get the inside scoop on all the players right here on News 2 with the Phil Fulmer Show. You can watch the man with a plan, Phil Fulmer, as he takes you behind the scenes of each play, giving you all the stats, scores, highlights, and interviews that every UT fan should get. So get ready for another season with a big orange and watch the Phil Fulmer Show, Sundays at 11:30 a.m. only on News 2. Brought to you by the Tennessee Sports Fan and KFC.
So many things go through your mind after a car wreck. I've been there, and I'm so glad someone told me about the Harpeth Collision Centers. From rental cars to towing to a lifetime guarantee on all their work, the Harpeth Collision Centers are here to help. Both Harpeth locations are Gold Class certified as an industry leader and an approved shop for all insurance companies. If you should ever need their services, contact any member of the Harpeth Automotive family, and the Harpeth Collision Centers will be there for you.
As we discussed earlier, ABC News' daily tracking poll shows a statistical dead heat today, with Governor Bush and Vice President Gore tied at 47%. Some other major national polls, however, show a gap. Newsweek has Bush leading with 49% and Gore with 41%. The Christian Science Monitor has Bush with 47%, Gore with 41%, while the Washington Post has the race closer with Bush at 47 and Gore at 46. Joining us now from our New York studios, Gary Langer, the director of polling for ABC News. Gary, I can imagine that viewers must be entirely confused and confounded by what they see, all these different numbers. Help us out here.
I hope not, Chris. I mean, I think the polls have sent a fairly consistent message that it's been a pretty close race. There are some fairly slight differences in the polls. A couple of the ones you just mentioned are a couple of days old, not quite as current as ours and perhaps some of the others. Well, another source of difference in polls is the number of voters who they report as undecided. Ours has a low undecided. We ask people who they'd vote for if the election were today. And if the election were today and you're going to vote, then undecided is not truly an option. But overall, I think the polls over time and most recently have shown a pretty close race, a close race indeed. And I think, as I say, that's been consistent.
After the debates, we did see a lot of flipping around. One of the main polls, the Gallup poll, had Gore ahead and then had Bush ahead by a significant amount right after that. The ABC polls and others didn't quite show that leap. Yet we have seen quite a bit of fluctuation in at least a couple of the polls. And what kind of thing accounts for that?
Well, a few things. First, I'll tell you that our ABC News tracking poll has been quite stable. In fact, we've seen very little change in the race all the way back to Labor Day. It's been a very close race, usually a couple of point lead for George W. Bush, not enough to push it outside the margin of error, a close race right along, but a very stable one. Now, a couple of the other polls, the Gallup poll and a couple of others, have had more fluctuation in them. You have to remember that election polling is particularly challenging because you're polling for an unknown group, people who are going to vote. If you're doing a poll of the general population, it's easily. You sample folks who have a phone, you call them up, you ask them what you think. With an election poll, you have to use your best estimate of who's actually going to vote. Who are the likely voters? More people plan to vote than get around to it. There are a variety of ways of doing this estimate. It seems that some of these other polls are using estimates that are a bit more volatile, that have more changeability in them than ours do. Our estimates have been very stable, and really whatever likely voter model we use, whatever turnout we estimate, we see very consistent results within a couple of points, a very close race.
You say the undecided voters here account for some of the volatility we're seeing in the polls. What kind of undecided voter are you counting now in the ABC News poll, and how likely are they to change their minds?
we look less at undecideds and more at what we call lightly committed or changeable voters. This is about 1 in 10 voters, about 10% right now. These are folks who tell us they have a choice, most of them, but they don't feel strongly about it, and they might change their minds before Election Day. Those are the folks we call changeable. There are more women in that group, more independents, more moderates, more white Catholics. Those are a couple of swing groups. Independents and white Catholics have gone with the winner in the last 5 elections. They're important groups to look at. Also, these changeable voters are a little less likely to be paying close attention to the race, so they're harder for the candidates to reach.
Gary, when you dig down into the polling numbers, what are the most striking things you're seeing right now? Earlier on, we saw this tremendous gender gap between Gore and Bush. Are we still seeing that? And what other sorts of things, telling indicators, are you picking up?
Well, we do see a significant gender gap, and also it seems to me to be a very substantive election in which some people are having difficulty deciding, and the broad electorate is dividing evenly because they see things, voters see things that they like and dislike about each candidate, their stands on the issues and their personal qualities. They both have attractions, and they both have things people like less about them, and that makes it a difficult decision. People aren't turned off by this election. We see a lot of attention being paid and a lot of fundamentally important choices to make. You know, there's a basic question in this campaign is whether you want a larger government that does more or a smaller government that does less.
Gary, one of the questions that reporters ask every 4 years, and we just have a few seconds left, is whether it's likely that we could see a winner in the popular vote who is a loser in the Electoral College or vice versa. In just a few seconds, how likely is that this election cycle?
It's theoretically possible, Chris. It's happened 3 times in this nation's history, but none in this century. That you've had someone win the election without the popular vote. It seems unlikely. It's possible. It's possible in this election, this being the closest election we've seen in a generation. But as I say, that's very rare and not very likely, I wouldn't think.
Gary Langer, thanks so much for your time tonight. When we come back, 3 candidates who argue there is more to the race than Gore and Bush.
Check this out. It's the NetVista S40 desktop. It's got an Intel Pentium 3 processor, USB ports, cool design. And when you buy it at IBM.com, there's a call me button you can click, and within 5 minutes, a tech expert like Leon will call and answer any questions.
I'll be home soon. Yeah. You know who I'll be? Walrus Man. 450 megahertz should be fast enough.
Well, maybe not Leon.
Sometimes in life we're given second chances. If you are given a second chance, then you better go for it.
I won.
I won. I won.
The researchers at Bristol-Myers Squibb are proud that Lance Armstrong dedicated his Tour de France victory to the millions of people who have also beaten cancer. Because in many ways, it was their victory too.
I won.
For decades, Bristol-Myers Squibb has been at the forefront of developing medicines that help people survive cancer. Using 3 Bristol-Myers Squibb cancer drugs, doctors worked with Lance Armstrong to first control his cancer, then to beat it.
Winning the Tour de France wasn't just a victory for me. It was a victory for cancer medicines and how far they've come.
At Bristol-Myers Squibb, we salute Lance Armstrong on his amazing effort at the Sydney Games, and we wish him continued victories in a remarkable athletic career that serves as an inspiration to survivors everywhere.
I won!
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol-Myers Squibb Company.
That new boss is from another planet.
Totally spaced out at that meeting.
Hey, what's that on your desk?
abcnews.com. Ready when you are.
Storm Tracker 2000. Weather information you need from the people who know. Storm Tracker 2000. First, fast, accurate.
News 2 Insta Sports. This thing is really starting to catch on.
Hey, John, guess who else has signed up? We got Father Ryan, Oakland, Brentwood Beach, and Portland.
Schools all over Middle Tennessee are signing up and signing on for News 2 Insta Sports.
Hey, did you tell them it's free?
It's free. It's easy. Just log on to WKRN.com.
Hey, what about the ticker?
Yes, John, the ticker. Scores and schedules at least 3 times a week.
So tell them to sign up.
News 2 Insta Sports. Please sign up today.
Vanderbilt Sports Medicine, putting athletes of all ages back in the game.
Third-party candidate Ralph Nader has been all over the news recently, not because of his ideas so much, but because the Gore campaign is concerned he is siphoning off votes that might be the difference between victory and defeat. Our next three guests are also running for president, but the chances are many of you have not seen coverage of their campaigns because there has been virtually no coverage. Many of you may not have heard of some of or even all of them, but they are out there campaigning every day anyway. John Hagelin is the candidate of the Natural Law Party. Earlier this year, he lost a challenge to Pat Buchanan for the Reform Party nomination. This is his third run for the presidency, and he joins us from our affiliate KOMO in Seattle. Harry Brown is the Libertarian Party candidate. He is on the ballot in 49 states, and the Libertarian Party has more than 1,400 candidates running for office this year. This is his second presidential campaign. He joins us from affiliate WRTV in Indianapolis. And joining us from affiliate WOLO in Columbia, South Carolina, Howard Phillips. Mr. Phillips is the nominee of the Constitution Party, formerly known as the United States Taxpayers Party. He's on the ballot in 42 states. Gentlemen, I want to get to all of your platforms in just a moment, but first give me a sense of what it's like out there campaigning with no limos, no airplanes, no entourage, no matching funds. Howard Phillips, give us a little sense of what life is like for you as a candidate that people don't know much about.
Well, I enjoy it. I will have visited nearly all of the states on whose ballots I'll appear, and wherever I travel, I am met by leaders of our Constitution Party in the state. I'm treated very well. Generally, we have a chance to be interviewed by the local media, be on television, address meetings of local supporters and other members of the public who are interested in what we're doing.
Harry Brown, what about you, campaigning as an asterisk, someone who barely registers in the polls, you don't get a lot of media attention, you don't have a lot of commercials on the air, you don't have a giant entourage. What's that like?
Well, it's very exciting, but the fact of the matter is that I do register in the polls. I've been running equal with Pat Buchanan all through this. But
which is about 1% or less.
Right, and you folks in the national media treat Pat Buchanan and Ralph Nader as the celebrities that they are. And of course, you don't treat me or any of the other candidates in the same way because we're not inside the Beltway types. But as the only candidate who did turn down matching funds after qualifying for them, and the only candidate who really wants to get government out of your life, I'm greeted very enthusiastically by people wherever I go because most Americans think that government is way too big.
John Hagelin, you have described the three of you collectively as the three Mouseketeers. What do you mean? I mean, are you toiling out there against the forces of evil?
The good news is that there are millions upon millions of people out there who are resonating with this message, and on the basis of that response, we have succeeded in building something very significant, I think, and that is a foundation for a whole new independent political movement. Together, this comprises a very formidable grassroots support base, and I believe, hopefully, a blueprint for government in the next election.
Harry Brown, you're suggesting that we not only decriminalize all drugs, but that we also legalize weapons. I mean, how far would you go? Would you allow the people to have machine guns?
You should be prosecuted for the harm you do to others, not for what you own, not for what you think, not for what you believe, not for what you smoke, not for what you drink.
If you're going to take away anybody's guns, take them away from the government. There are 45 federal agencies employing 80,000 police who are authorized to bear arms against the American people.
So Howard and Harry, let me see if I get this straight. You both believe that any American ought to be able to walk around with a automatic weapon, a submachine gun, a bazooka, a flamethrower, is that it?
The first time somebody does harm to somebody else, threatens, intimidates anybody else, he should be prosecuted.
So, Howard, bazookas are okay as far as you're concerned?
Well, Chris, what we do is prosecute the drunk driver, not because he owns a car, but because he drives drunk and threatens to others. Is a threat to others. Harry is right about that.
John Hagelin, you talk about the common sense reform of the Natural Law Party.
Yes. And the real solution here is education. And I am an educator, the only professor running for president, and I believe deeply that America's problems are really caused by education. Our outcomes have fallen to all-time lows in comparison to other nations. Education that really develops the brain, that expands comprehension, that graduates responsible citizens.
Gentlemen, we just have a few seconds left. Very quickly, if I can ask each of you whether you think that Al Gore or George W. Bush will make even a marginal difference to your supporters in this election next Tuesday.
They both want bigger government. If you want bigger government, you have a hard choice to make. If you want smaller government, then don't vote Republican or Democrat, because you'll just encourage them in what they're doing.
John Hagelin, do you see any daylight between Gore and Bush? Would either of them make a marginal difference as far as you and your supporters are concerned?
I don't think so. They're both bought and paid for by the same special interest groups, and that's why it is absolutely essential in this campaign that we take back our stolen democracy from special interest control, eliminate PACs and soft money. Every precious vote for Hagelin Goldhaber will send a loud signal to Washington, D.C. that says, wake up. These are the sorts of common sense solutions the American people demand, and it's time we break the two-party death grip and take back our stolen democracy.
Howard Phillips, very quickly, you have the last word in about 10 seconds.
Phillips2000.com, ConstitutionParty.com. The Republicans and Democrats have slashed our defense. We'll rebuild it. They both support MFN for Red China. We will end it. We'll get out of NAFTA. We'll get out of the WTO. We'll restore constitutional government. Don't waste your vote. Vote for what you believe, or you'll never get what you want.
Howard Phillips, John Hagelin, Harry Brown, thank you all for joining us. I'll be back in a moment with a note about tomorrow's Nightline.
To receive a daily email announcement about each evening's Nightline and a preview of special broadcasts, log on to our webpage at nightline.abcnews.com.
Sleeping bag for his first sleepover, $40. Backpack, $18.
Sorry about that. Hey, buddy, you couldn't sleep, huh?
Walkie-talkies, $25. Going home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Win a house in our Home for the Holidays sweepstakes. Go to MasterCard.com.
You need internet access and long distance. Why not get them both together and save? Now you can get 1,000 minutes of nighttime state-to-state long distance and unlimited internet access together for just $30 a month. That's a $10 savings over what you'd pay for them separately. Sprint 1000 and Earthlink Internet, because some things were just meant to be together. Hook up with Sprint and Earthlink at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Wednesday.
You know, my wife, she's out of town. She's way out of town.
Tomorrow night sounds great.
On an all-new Gideon's Crossing.
Have you decided whether you're going to run for the Senate?
It's a story that's made headlines.
He has prostate cancer.
One politician's biggest race.
Your secrets are safe within these walls. Secrets.
There's something you want to tell me, Sonny?
6 months to live my life. That's what I want.
I'm not going to jump through hoops just because he's a VIP.
You are going to jump through hoops because he's a friend of mine.
A new Gideon's Crossing, Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Life is full of hassles. Having genital herpes is one of mine. I used to take Zovirax 5 times a day. That was a real hassle. Then my doctor told me about Valtrex, just twice a day.
Just another day.
Valtrex for genital herpes outbreaks. FDA approved for just twice a day.
Nothing in my way.
Valtrex is made by the same company as Zovirax and is the same kind of medicine. But each dose of Valtrex puts more medicine into your bloodstream, so it lasts longer and you don't have to take it as often. Common side effects for Zovirax and Valtrex are headache and nausea.
There were so many times when I forgot to take my pills. Twice a day is so much easier.
Remember, there is no cure for herpes, and even with treatment, it may be possible to spread herpes to others. To avoid a potentially serious complication, tell your doctor if your immune system is not normal because of advanced HIV disease, bone marrow, or kidney transplant. Call for a free trial coupon and ask your doctor about Valtrex.
Valtrex just twice a day. I can handle that.
Nothing in my way.
Tomorrow, more on third parties. Ted Koppel will be in Minneapolis to talk with Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura and Green Party presidential candidate Ralph Nader. You can email your questions now for Governor Ventura and Ralph Nader by visiting our website, nightline.abcnews.com. That's our report for tonight. I'm Chris Bury in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
You can order a transcript or video cassette of this or any other Nightline broadcast by dialing 1-800-CALL-ABC.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Tuesday.
So you changed the name of the store?
You've been against this whole thing.
Two sisters, one act of betrayal.
It's so obvious I can't believe I haven't seen it.
And that's just the beginning of the surprises yet to come.
Are you pregnant?
A great new season of Once and Again continues Tuesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.